You're welcome, because my dinner is also 3 hours from now. So if I have to suffer, you have to suffer.
Well, there are snacks in the break room.
But we're on desk.
Yeah.
Anyways, hi everyone. This is the Semi-Bookish podcast. That's.
I mean,
I think that's all I really had for the intro.
Hi.
Hi everyone. This is the Semi-Bookish podcast. Adrian District Library's podcast. I keep promoting this podcast to people.
oh, good.
And so people keep going, oh, well, I'll check it out. So, if you're one of those people, you should totally, just come back to the library and let me know you've listened to this, and maybe I'll give you a piece of cake.
So if they were to come back to the library and to let you specifically know, what would they need to call you? And what?
Oh, yeah, hi, I'm Erin. I am the supreme overlord of the library, a.k.a. the local history librarian who, lords over everything that has to do with the history in this building. And that is my title. So if you were to come into the library and tell me, hey, I listened to this podcast, you should refer to me as your supreme overlord. Just kidding.
Is a bow necessary?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, that could be fun.
I mean, if it's Halloween
A whole
and I
bunch of
was
people
wearing...
just come and start bowing.
If it was around Halloween, I'd be wearing like a princess costume, then you could probably bow and it would work.
Oh, wait,
But,
which
like,
princess?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm going as a hippie for Halloween, so I'm not actually going as a
Oh,
princess.
okay, well.
But if I was,
I don't know. Princess Leia is about as hippie princess as it gets.
I mean, I have an actual hippie costume.
She's even from the 70s.
Is it like tie-dye?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, fun. All right.
So, Tony, introduce yourself / hi.
Oh, hi. My name is Tony. I am the Youth Services Library Assistant at the Adrian District Library.
Yay.
So, yeah, that's me. I just want your kids to read all of the evil books that will corrupt their minds forever.
Like Frog and Toad?
Yes,
Like Frog
yes.
and Toad, yes.
Wait, did that recently get like a...
No, but
It's only a matter of time.
it's only a matter of time at this rate. Have you read the list from 2022?
There's a new... Oh, from 2022. No, I've ignored
There's a bookmark that's out at the desk right now that has all of the top 10.
Oh,
and
yes.
hilariously enough, it's actually the list is longer than 10 because some of them tied.
Isn't Looking for Alaska on the list?
Yes.
I
Again.
find that really... I find that strange. I find the whole concept
It's
of
on the
book
list
banning
again,
strange, but
the
yeah,
hilarious part
it's-
is the list is longer than 10
Well.
because some of them tied
Sure. Well, of course.
for the amount of challenges.
Yeah. Oh, well. Okay.
Anyways,
okay.
Lord Ish, hi.
Look at the
list.
Who are you?
I'm Grant, aka Lord Ish. Go to episode 5 to find out how that
really
started.
episode 5?
I don't know if it's actually episode 5.
It's pretty early.
It is really early.
Wow.
It was the day you were gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
It was, so
That
whichever
was, yes.
episode Grant is gone is the episode that Lord Ish is born.
Fantastic.
So I think we should start off by, what we're usually, our usual thing, which is what we're reading and playing or watching or things.
Also, Grant's position at the library is
Oh
library
yeah, Grant,
goblin.
what are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm a library goblin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Lord Ish, library goblin, what are you reading / playing / watching /
Oh, you want to know what I'm reading?
I do know what you are reading.
Let me crawl out of my goblin hovel.
Oh, God.
Please crawl out of your goblin hovel and please tell me what you are doing.
Okay.
I'm beginning to think that the inspiration for Dobby was probably Fagin in some really weird...
Fagin?
From Oliver Twist.
Probably.
For some weird
I think we're
alternate universe.
I think we're making Tony question their life choices today.
You haven't heard what I'm reading yet, so...
Oh no. Okay. Anyways, Mr. Goblin.
Okay. I am still reading that William James book, and
Yes.
I'm listening to the audiobook of Remembering Satan by Lawrence Wright.
Remembering Satan.
It's a heartwarming tale from the heart of a satanic panic about a family torn apart, a town torn apart. It's about the faultiness of memory. So this basically this the daughter of this prominent guy in a town. I forget the state. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Midwest America.
Sure.
she comes up with the story that there is an underground satanic cult in the town, and there's a whole bunch of abuse going on and whatnot, and her dad is like one of the ringleaders of it. Now you'd think that through due process and like looking into all this stuff, it would go away, because obviously it's not happening.
Well, that's how the world works.
The dad ends up believing it himself and admits to being the ringleader of the satanic thing. And like, so I knew about the story beforehand, but it's just wild.
Is it?
Like how there's so many questions over like how he came to believe in these things.
This is nonfiction?
No, this is nonfiction. It actually happened.
What?
So do you want to send me the title of this book again after we're done, so I can add it to my list of things to read?
Yeah, it's the audiobook is literally only like 6 hours. It's not
that's
super long. So it's quick.
So I guess
listen.
I know what I'm doing while playing Starfield tonight.
And so I knew about this beforehand. I don't remember if he ends up going to jail or not for this, or if he was then released later, but it's just a really disturbing, weird piece of American history.
Yeah, sounds...
I love random disturbing pieces of American history.
Do you want me to send the name to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm completely and utterly serious. Please send that to me.
Okay.
Tony.
Yeah. Okay, so I literally, my Starfield interaction at this point is I bought the game.
Yay!
I downloaded the game.
Isn't it so big?
And yes.
Takes forever to download, everyone.
And then, fortunately, I was busy, so I didn't mind.
Turn it on, you can go do other things and come back.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. But I've only played, that part in Skyrim where, you start out and they're going to execute you and then the dragons show up.
Yeah.
That whole part. I'm like at the part just before where I suspect the dragon is going to show up. So like, well, actually, no, it's right after the dragon shows up, because the Starfield equivalent of that, I think, I could be wrong,
is being knocked out by the thing.
Yes, okay.
Poor
so that
man
is the
has
equivalent. So
I've seen the...
So I have gotten literally that far and then saved it. So I know what my character looks like. They have a really bad blonde version of... It's not even blonde. They have a really, really bad Spotted Cow's yellow custard shake version of my hair. If you've ever gotten the lemon custard thing from Spotted Cow and you know how yellow it is, Are you
trying to approximate your hairstyle and it's just not taking?
Yes. Well, I was trying to approximate the hairstyle for my character, because or at least the hair, because I thought, oh, well, that's fun. They have this option, so I might as well use it, right? I made him darker than I am, because in video games, you usually can get as close to me pigmentation wise, but that that's not a black character. It's like the tan version of the whatever character they're creating, right? So the fact that I could go darker and make him look like a black character, I was like, cool, I'm good with that. What was my point? Oh yeah, so I made my character. That's it. I haven't really played Starfield.
Did you get what were the traits or the special things that you got, if you did any?
I don't remember what I chose. One of the things I chose was like space. Basically, the closest to space pirate that you could get without calling him a space pirate.
Fair. I was going to say, did you pick the Adorian fan?
No.
Because he's one of the funnest companions.
Yes, I did actually choose the Adoring fan.
Alright, so he's one of the funnest companions.
I haven't gotten him yet, because I literally have not. I've not played that far.
I feel like you're going to like, out of all the characters, you'll probably like Barrett when you meet him.
Okay.
And then Andrea.
Oh, okay.
You'll probably like her
I like the name.
Yeah.
Already, so, but what am I reading? Oh.
Yeah, you were going to tell me this was a whole entire thing.
It's not really a thing, because neither of you is going to be surprised. I am reading a book called The Dark Disciple, which is one of the Star Wars Legends books.
Okay, never mind. I'm not surprised anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the story of what happens when the Jedi Council decides that the center of the war is Count Dooku, so they need to assassinate him.
Ooh.
Yes, at which Obi-Wan nearly loses his mind, and Mace Windu has to threaten him in session. He walks across the room and is like, but let me break it down for you why we should really do this. And Yoda's just like, yeah, we're already close to the line of the dark side. This is going to push us over. But if it means that innocents don't die, I think this is a great idea. So they decide
to do it.
To pair Jedi Master Quinlan Voss, who is basically like this high-level intelligence Jedi Master, with Asajj Ventress, who is Dooku's former apprentice, who has already tried to kill him. And so they go on this whole adventure and everything, and it's really good. It's written by Christy Golden, who like literally her whole life has been spent writing. What do they call those books when it's not your property, it's someone else's?
Licensed?
Yes, she's been writing licensed. She's written Warcraft, Star Wars, all the stuff for decades. So I kind of expected her to be good. I didn't know what I would think of the story. It's really good. The story's really good. It's really fun. It's really interesting watching the two of them sort of interact. And it's also interesting knowing because it's like a lost Clone Wars episode. So it was one that they just, like, they had written a script for. They just never produced. And, like, given what the author has done with the book, I'm like, yeah, this would have made for a really dark, like, it was an arc. It was like several episodes, but it would have made for a pretty dark series of episodes for a children's show. And Clone Wars already kind of skirts that line.
It's like walking that line
in later seasons because they're like, well, they're soldiers. So this would have just been, you know, the idea that the Jedi Council in the beginning of a Clone Wars episode would have literally like almost fought each other over whether or not they should assassinate Dooku. That's already like a bridge too far for most people. So, you know, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's really good. So yeah, you know, that's what I'm reading right now is Star Wars books because
Star Wars books.
They're fun and they're interesting, and you know, when you get a good author, you get
I like those installments in a franchise that are like so different tonally from other stuff that you'll see there. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it just is. It's really cool. I don't know. Yeah, it's fun. Aaron.
Yes.
Other than Starfield.
I mean, I'm playing Starfield right now. I'm still traversing the galaxy with Samco, who's one of the companions. You'll meet him later. I think he's one of the more fantastic characters.
I like his name.
His name is cool. His backstory is pretty interesting. And he has a daughter. And the thing is so him and his wife are separated. / like divorced / they don't get along really right now.
Space divorced.
Yeah, space divorced. And there's like a whole storyline, and if you go further down his storyline, it makes more sense because he'll actually talk to you about it, so I'm not really spoiling too much, but I'm just like stating the facts. So Cora, his daughter, ends up basically, he doesn't want her to stay in, like, at home with his, like, I think it's his dad or his granddad or something. Because they don't get along, like, at all whatsoever. Like, it's like a whole thing. And so he takes her. She's basically like this little genius. And so she basically homeschools herself on your ship while you guys are going around. So she just follows you along, and she's like a little extra crew member. She's not, in my opinion, and some people might have differing ones depending on how they're playing, I don't find her to be too much of a nuisance because she just like stays out of the way. The whole entire time, though at one point she cons you out of like, not really because you can choose to give it to her, but she cons you out of like 50 gold or dollars or whatever to buy books. And I'm like, this kid is totally me. I love this kid already.
It's not a con here. Have more.
No. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I did. And then Sam is in the background just going, seriously, don't do that. She's going to ask you for more money now next time. And I'm like, do it.
You're like, yeah.
Do it. I love it.
That indeed was the plan.
So right now, I'm avoiding all of the faction quest lines and just doing side quests for fun and exploring planets. So I'm currently looking for life on one planet chemistry-wise, and I'm leveling just up my character in general.
Nice.
I find, as much as people say that the worlds are empty, I like how empty they are in general.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of different things that you can access and do. And one of the things that I also like about this game is it's all procedurally generated.
What does that mean?
Randomized. So
like if you touch down on a planet and I touch down on a planet, we're gonna see different things.
Possibly.
Okay.
Or is it like Oblivion, where in the creation of the world, they procedurally generated like some expanses of forest or whatever, but it's the same for everybody.
Yeah, so like the worlds are all the same. All the different places are the same. However, the encounters you make are completely randomized. And then so one thing that I think that Starfield does well is once you're done with the game, I think you can continue playing it, but there's a new game plus where you can go through as your character that you literally just did, and it randomizes some of the events that are going on around you. At one point, I think one of the more randomized things, and this is something that I saw confirmed, is you could literally, like after a few new game pluses, do another one with your exact same character again, and you'll go into the main constellation area, which is the main faction that you're a part of, and you will have clones of yourself, like as one of the randomized things that happens. And
that's
it's like a whole like thing, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to catch up on Genshin because, I need to do that.
Sure.
I got 2 characters I wanted. I wasted money on them. I need to play and get them up to normal.
Sure. What are you reading?
Reading-wise, hilariously enough, what I'm starting is within the realms of our topic today.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm reading a book called City of the Dead, which means absolutely nothing. However, fun fact, this is a Resident Evil book.
Oh, fun.
So,
okay. I love it for all the licensed reading.
Yeah, so this is a licensed reading. Something that I find really cool is they made little novelizations of all the games. Or at least up until like a certain point. And so this is City of the Dead, and so for anybody who is a Resident Evil fan, this follows Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
For people who are not aware of Resident Evil lore, and if I say which game it is, you don't know what I mean. This follows Leon Kennedy, who is, the main character of this whole entire thing, who has just become a rookie cop. He just graduated police school. He's got his first assignment. He's going to Raccoon City. Fantastic. He's having a great time. No, he's not.
And
then he gets to Raccoon City, and basically... so there are multiple things happening in Resident Evil lore, which I feel like deserves a whole episode all by itself, because Resident Evil lore is, like, ridiculous. But there are multiple things happening at once. So in this sense, Resident Evil 2 / this book, he's getting to the police station, and the whole entire police station is wiped out. Whole thing. Like... There is nobody alive in this town. Like, I don't know what you mean when you think of, we're going to find survivors. There are no survivors here.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, there is one, but he dies later on. Spoiler alert. But the game has been out since, like, the 90s, so what have you been doing? However, he meets up with a girl named Claire. Now, Claire's brother, Chris, used to be part of the STARS unit of Raccoon City Police Department, which is their special forces, essentially. And so she's trying to find him because he's missing. She has no idea where he's at. So she has up and left college. She's left what she's doing. She is bent on trying to find her brother. They accidentally meet up. They make it into the police station thinking it's safe. It's not. Meanwhile, there's like a whole bunch more happening, but basically they have to survive in that police station, and it eventually goes out towards the rest of the city and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing that I know about as the ending wise is they meet a little girl named Sherry, and Sherry's father, Will, was a part of the Umbrella, which is the evil corporation, by the way. Umbrella's the evil corporation for now, because later on they would claim that company and they make it a good company where they're using that as a special forces to go out and stop all the different random biohazard attacks.
Sure.
But Sherry's father, Will, was a part of the initial science group, and he is part of the reason that the virus that they're fighting in this one, which is G. There's 3 in the city at one time during this whole entire fiasco.
Yeah.
Please no.
Yeah.
But during this fiasco, it's his virus that's happening, and he's injected himself with the virus. And he wants... This is not safe for work at this point. He wants to kidnap his kid and implant, another specimen in the child.
Ugh.
And so he infects her at one point.
All right.
Because he kidnaps her. And his wife is trying to stop him at the same time, and there's like it's really convoluted, so unless you play the game / you're aware of the lore, it makes no sense.
Sure.
Leon and Claire have to find her, and they basically have to find the cure while fighting not only the dad, who has become like this inhuman biohazard monster, but Umbrella has also dropped down this random entity called Mr. X, who is also one of the inhuman biohazard entities, who is following them around the police station and around town constantly. And so not only are they fighting him, but they're also fighting this guy all at the same time. So they're doing that, and then they save her, and then at the very end, this is what leads to Leon becoming a U.S. Agent, because Sherry is going to be taken in and tested on by the U.S. government, and he says, no, you can't do that. And so they make him become a U.S. agent so she doesn't get tested on.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's like a whole bunch more lore that comes with it. But if you haven't already gotten the idea from my ranting about Resident Evil lore about our topic, we're talking about zombies in literature or media or anything of the like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like...
So that's like Resident Evil, that's Your Walking Dead. I came up with a whole list the other day, but your Resident Evil is Your Walking Dead.
Yeah.
There are so many different zombie things that you could go off the top of my head.
I've only read one...
Left 4 Dead?
Two zombie books. One was Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion, which I loved as a book. It's
Zombieland, Dawn of the Dead,
really a zombie book in that sense. It's basically... It's not a zombie book in that sense because it's a romance. So it's the story of a kid who's a zombie, and then he meets a girl who's not a zombie, and then of course he watch them fall in love, and it's really actually quite good, and it's short, which is another thing that's nice about it. But no, it's a really compelling book, and I like it because it does my favorite thing to see done, which is it takes something absolutely ridiculous that you don't want anyone to actually know how to do. Like, you're like, wait, why would you do that? And it creates a story that is feasible, that like you see it that way. Even if you could possibly see it other ways, you see it that way because the author wrote it that way, and so convincingly that you're like, oh yeah, that's how that would go. So I really like that about that book. I read The Forest of Hands and Teeth. Whew. Yeah.
It's a cool title.
So it's a great title. Throwback.
Isn't that a kid's book?
It's a YA book, yeah. By Carrie Ryan. I think it's her first one from, way back. When people thought that zombies was going to be the new vampires in YA, and it
did not.
I think in other mediums it became like the
new thing.
but probably not.
I mean, really,
Yeah, I don't
if you
know
think
why
about it, there's so many different things. There's Dawn of the Dead, which is that's
seen Dawn of-
1978. That's older.
That's the Romero one, right? Was Romero? Is that the one?
It was
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Thriller. The Michael Jackson music video had zombies in it.
That's true.
Shaun of the Dead, which is the comedy.
I love Shaun of the Dead. It's a great movie.
There's World War Z, whichever you want.
That's the only zombie book I think I've read.
Max Brooks, right?
I Am Legend.
It's a great book.
I Am Legend is also
terrifying.
a zombie media.
Yes, I saw the movie for I Am Legend. I've never read it.
They're zombies are kind of like vampires in the book.
Yes.
I've heard that they're more vampires.
I haven't read the book.
There's also,
Yeah.
your Left 4 Dead, which is the video game series, which also has a whole bunch of lore in it.
Yeah.
There's Train to Busan, which is the Korean movie.
Really?
Yes.
That's a zombie? Oh.
Yep, Train to Busan is a zombie movie, and it is terrifying and heart-wrenching all at the same time.
I might have to watch that.
Because the main character is a little girl.
Yeah.
There's, The Walking Dead. There's 3 different forms of there's multiple forms of The Walking Dead, but I consider there's 3 main forms of The Walking Dead. You have your comic book, there's the video game, and then there's the TV show. Ironically enough, neither of them cross each other.
None of them are the same.
No.
That's
the only thing that's the same is in the Walking Dead TV show, there's a character named Glenn.
Oh, I love Glenn, yeah.
Glenn is a character for, like, all of, like, maybe 4 or 5 minutes in the video game. Like, you cross paths with him, like, and you actually have the option to save him. Or leave him for dead, whatever.
So did the showrunners and...
Right, no, but, like, this is, like, I think you're locked in a gas station with him and a couple other people, and he's, like, holding the door, and then, like, a hand pops through, and you have the option of just leaving him alone with the hand, or chopping off the hand to save him.
Oh, okay.
And there's, like, a whole thing. And all the different Walking Dead, like, medias all have a different, like, set of people that it follows. I'm more familiar with the games because that's what I played.
Yeah, I watched the show until I couldn't anymore.
Like, the show, I think, for the first few seasons was pretty good, from what I know. But I think I honestly think the games are a little bit more superior to the show.
Once Shane, honestly, in my opinion, once Shane comes back, it's the beginning of the end for me. Like, it's just like, then when they kill him, the circumstance by which they kill him is so infuriating that afterwards I'm like, well, where are they going to go from here? And then they really go to a prison, and I was just like, I'm done.
No, I think the Walking Dead games are a little bit, in my opinion, and you can flame me if you want. Please come to the library and do so. I don't care. But, like, I think the games are a little bit more superior.
I wouldn't be surprised. But, it's not hard to be superior to that series.
Like, so honestly. The game is more like it's visual novel style. Mm-hmm. Like, you can still walk around and you can do things, but it's not, like, intensely, like, running around like Left 4 Dead where you have to run around and shoot the zombies constantly. It follows more of a storyline. Mm-hmm. And you're following a guy named Lee who was trying to come home to his wife. I think after getting out of prison, there's, like, a whole thing. It's really funny. He gets home and, there's all these zombies. Oops. And he finds a little girl named Clementine. Mm-hmm. And he basically, like, adopts her and makes it his mission for her to survive. Mm-hmm. And the first game is literally so heart-wrenching. Because you meet all these different characters and you meet all these different things. Mm-hmm. And you might hate one character or another. There's one character who I didn't really care for at first, but I ended up really loving him. His name was Ben. Mm-hmm. He was basically like a high school band student. Mm-hmm. And he's just, like, following you along, doing all these things. Yeah. He and one guy don't get along whatsoever. Like, this is a whole entire thing. And this guy named Kenny hates him. Mm-hmm. Because I think he got his kid, like, bitten. Because Kenny has a son. Sure. So it leads to a whole entire thing. But you're getting to the very end of the game, and they all have to jump across the rooftop. Ben doesn't make it over, and he falls all the way down. He's still alive. Nobody, like, notices at first, but they hear him down there. His back is broken. He can't move. Sure. But he's down there, and Kenny, in a last-ditch effort, says, you guys go ahead. I'm going to go take care of him and save him and make sure he doesn't get, like, eaten or give him some mercy or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he leaves the group to go save him, and then you don't see Kenny ever again. Plot twist, you do in game 2. Sure. Anyways, but the game, like, basically ends where you've been attached to Lee and Clementine as a father-daughter relationship the whole entire time. He got bitten, like, halfway through the game. And he's been hiding it from her this whole time. Interesting. And at the very end of the game, he basically realizes that it's going to happen and there's no way to stop it. Mm-hmm. So he has Clem handcuff him to a radiator. Of course. And and he tells her options are either to leave him there, to turn, or to shoot him in the head. Well. And so you have that option in the game, and it reflects in the second game.
Oh, that's interesting.
On how you took care of that. And I think it's a little bit more heart-wrenching to leave him there, because at one point you leave the room and he's changed, and you turn back and there's a scene of him. You can just see him as a zombie, and I'm like, oh my heart hurts.
Interesting.
But like, that's some zombie media.
So
Last of Us is also zombie media.
I thought Last of Us was, yeah. So what's with the zombie thing?
What's with the zombie thing?
Yeah, like why? I don't know that I entirely get zombies. Like.
I wish I had an answer.
Yeah, I'm looking. Help me.
Maybe it's like, as far as like what makes it scary, maybe it's something that they are human, but yet they're not human.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I wish I had a smarter answer. But.
I wonder, what is it about... I guess my question with zombies is that, what is it about zombies that draws people in, other than just a stock horror monster that you can use?
So I'm looking at a history.com article because I can, because you asked that question, so I have to do the thing.
Suppose.
The origins are basically like the ancient Greeks so far.
That's interesting.
We're really terrified by it.
Oh well, they would be. They have a whole underworld.
Right.
And I suppose you could consider certain parts of Orpheus and the Eurydice
However,
zombie. Like if you.
This says that zombie folklore has been around for centuries in Haiti.
Oh.
And it possibly origins to like the 17th century when slaves were brought to work in the sugarcane plantations.
Oh.
And brutal conditions left them longing for freedom, and according to some reports, the life, or rather afterlife, of a zombie represented the horrific plight of it.
Oh no, that's something I've never seen.
Idea planting?
Yeah, that's good. For somebody, it may not be good for me, but that's good. That's
Yeah. And there are a few, like, it's basically like in previous graves, and you see this with like vampires too being like a thing.
Vampires,
like
I get.
No, in mythology, but like in burial practices, the being afraid of being reanimated.
Oh.
Is a thing. So like in Greek graves, like ancient Greek, some of the skeletons are pinned down by rocks, heavy objects, to prevent them from, when they reanimate, being able to move.
Mm-hmm.
You see this in, like, possibly Romanian subcultures, where, like, if they're afraid of, like, vampires, they'll encase them in, like, or werewolves, like, let's say werewolves, like, they encase it in a silver coffin to, like, be able to...
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
It kind of in response to your question, like what brings people in.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the modern image of the zombie, or like the modern concept of a zombie, lends itself to multiple scenarios. Like you have the disaster film where waves and waves of zombies are taking over society as a whole.
Sure.
Or it can be a small group of people in a town, say, and there's a small army of zombies there.
Sure.
Or maybe it's not technically a zombie, but even something like Hellraiser, where a single character is slowly brought back from it. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But,
do you ever really think too about how like zombies initially, when they were appearing in literature, weren't described as like how they are today? They were basically described as like ghosts or spirits.
I mean, the idea of like the resurrected dead has been around forever.
Yeah.
Like look at Christianity or whatever. But the current image of the zombie, I'm pretty sure, was codified with Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, certainly. Yes, certainly. Yeah, and that's interesting. I guess I hadn't thought of how its mythic roots would create a certain appeal. Because it's one of those things that it's weird about television, is that every like sci-fi TV show has a zombie episode. Clone Wars has 2 zombie episodes, and I was just like, what? Oh, okay. I guess you could do that. I've never found it to be very appealing all that much. And yet it clearly is because it's perennial. Like, everybody is using it all the time. And there's not really been, like, any kind of slow death of the zombie thing. So, I mean, like, there's been waves, maybe?
There's been waves, and then it gets oversaturated, then it goes away for a while.
It's like vampires. Vampires gets oversaturated, and then it goes away, and then it comes back.
But I feel like zombies, like, it feels like they've been less saturated. Maybe it's just in my lifetime. Maybe they've just been sort of
I think they've been less saturated too, but that's
in my lifetime. Because
do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think religious people would be more affected by zombie stories?
Like an actual by zombie stories?
Yeah, or zombie media, like.
Maybe?
I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know that. Thinking back to my church youth days, I don't know that zombies are easy to dissuade Christian audiences or even just religious audiences in general from. Like, the idea that there are zombies doesn't necessarily attract them, but it doesn't deter them either. In a different way that, like, vampires or ghosts or witches or, you know, any other supernatural thing that sort of deters them. But the zombie, because of how zombies are depicted, I think nobody takes them seriously until you're watching it and then you're like, you know, whatever you're feeling. But I don't know. That's a good question.
Like, I know, like, a lot of Catholics or just Christians in general are really upset by The Exorcist or possession movies in general.
Possession movies, yes.
I was just wondering if, like, there's something in zombies that like an element that's similar that would affect people in a similar way, but maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, having seen enough zombie things, I can understand the just basic scare tactic that it elicits. You know, I mean, and I think part of that is that you don't take it seriously. You know, a single zombie, even in movies, they're just kind of like, it's a single zombie. But there's never a single zombie. That's the whole point of zombies, is that you don't just have one.
It'd be
but
cool.
the thing is that it's also
like trapped in a house with a zombie or something.
Yeah, but like yes, exactly. Kind of like a Wilfred episode, but with a zombie instead of a dog. That'd be great. But like, even then, it's like, it's funny. The idea of it is funny. The idea of being trapped in a house with one zombie sounds absurd to us because we're so used to the idea of zombiehood being a sort of a disaster film. In that way,
that was
like,
made popular by Night of the Living Dead.
Right, exactly,
like, beforehand, like, I think in, like, earlier cinematic versions, so, like, zombies were first really much brought into film in 1932. Actually, with White Zombie.
Oh.
And they were basically slaves. They were basically, like, their own, like, little, like, mindless...
okay.
Those kind of things. And so it could be, like, your metaphor, rich control the poor, or whatever.
Oh, you know, I guess I hadn't thought about
Remember, the slaves thought it was, in Haiti, thought it was part of their lore. It was part of
something
them being trapped, and they wanted freedom and...
Yeah.
I think that's another reason why people are attracted or go to zombies. Like, it's easy to put your own subtext in there.
As always.
Like, as a mindless mass or something that can represent a lot of different things.
That's true. I suppose.
I don't know.
I think I'm just thinking of this as a storyteller. I'm trying to think, what excuse would I have to come up with to create a believable zombie crisis? Because I don't know that I've... it's not that
I raise my hand too, Aaron. I raise my hand too.
It's not that... I don't know that I've not seen it. I just don't know that there's a modern context for... Maybe there is. I don't know. Yes.
Well, I mean, if you want a modern version to put into your storytelling, you could use, like, a modern reasoning for the zombies existing in the first place. The ice caps in Antarctica are melting, and when the ice shelf fully goes away, there's thousands and thousands, maybe millions of years of bacteria and stuff that is going to be released into the wild. None of us know what they are. None of us know what they're going to do to us, and so therefore, you know, it could be a strain of bacteria that comes from the Antarctic ice shelf that maybe we took, put it in a lab because we were going to study it because we're humans and we're dumb like that, and
Yeah.
We put it in there to study it. Obviously, somebody gets infected in that facility and doesn't realize it, goes home and creates their whole new COVID, but, like, we're turning into zombies instead.
You know what this sounds like? Sounds like a lost episode of the animated series. Batman, the animated series.
It probably is.
I mean, it may be,
No,
but it's what it sounds like.
I like the idea.
Yeah, it's a great
I mean,
idea.
it's basically like something that could very well possibly happen if you want a
It's,
conspiracy theory.
It's better
something
than
there.
zombies came from COVID, which is just lazy.
Zombies
Has
came
that
from the
been done?
bath salts.
If it hasn't been done, it's
probably
because
important.
it's crossed many editors' desks and they all said no, mercifully.
No, zombies came from the bath salts of LSD that were done in like the 2012s. If anybody remembers that,
I do
that-
remember that. I was in
Funny.
school.
I was in
Yeah.
school. I
The
remember.
funny-
The pictures were circulating.
Yes.
We were
the
like,
bat-
oh,
that
the
bat-
zombies are coming.
I'm surprised at the lack of bath salt zombies that didn't come from. I mean, it's just
It turned out it wasn't even the bath salts.
No.
You had other problems.
He was just tripping.
There's that, perhaps.
Oh, and the other thing I was going to say your idea reminded me of was the thing where they
The Thing.
find
Yeah.
the alien
Oh,
trapped
right,
under the
the
ice.
thing.
and
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's the thing. See, like I don't know. Maybe I just
It
need
is
to-
the thing.
Yeah, it's the thing. Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe I just need to I don't know, read more, think more. I'm not sure, but I mean, aliens, vampires, which is everything you can throw at me. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I completely get it. It makes sense to me. Zombies, I'm just like, why? Like everyone was losing their minds over The Last of Us. I watched the first episode, and I'm like, this is really good television, really good. I don't want to see anymore.
Here's the thing, though. I don't
did
think
not want to watch anymore.
I mean, I don't think
almost caved to watch the gay romance episode, but I was like, they're not going to give me anything I don't already know. Like, there's no way that they're going to. Is it going to be a good story? Absolutely.
I think the
fine,
initial
but,
hype with The Last of Us started because of the fact that it was the video game first.
Oh no, I know where it came from. Yeah, plenty of people who loved those games went into the show with trepidation and came out of it with like, oh my god, did you see that? But what creates a phenomenon is when it goes beyond its original intended audience, and that's what happened. Is that so many people, particularly after episode 3, everyone just started watching the show, and I was like, really? Like, it's good, but like, why? And I swear it's a zombie thing. I don't know.
I feel like specifically with The Last of Us, the zombie element is like a pretext to tell the human stories of the
Yeah,
different characters.
when else that's been claimed. Literally after the first season of The Walking Dead, that was something that people would say.
Well, they went
Yes,
they went ahead and fired Frank Darabont for no reason,
which was a bad idea.
and shot themselves in the foot. So.
I agree, because it would have been more that than what we got, and what we got is just like Shonda Rhimes does zombies. Which, yes, I would actually be mad at. Like, if there's anything she shouldn't do, it's zombies. It's like, no, stop it. Don't do that. You stay
Tony
over there.
has feelings.
Stay over there in that Seattle hospital, ma'am.
If you wanted to read another zombie book, it's already been mentioned. It's the only one I've read, but I thoroughly
yeah.
enjoyed it. It would be World War Z.
Okay.
I think the book's better than the movie.
Oh, don't even get me started. The movies. I liked the movie when I first saw it in theaters
Yes.
because I like Brad Pitt and I
Weren't
like.
they gonna make it into a TV show too?
They were, and they made a video game adaptation. It's like a
Yeah, I saw the video game adaptation and I don't like it.
no.
So
It's like multiplayer. It's aimed at multiplayer.
it's aimed at people who played COD Zombie.
Yeah, which I played a
I
lot
mean,
of
like-
in my day. But
Call of Duty Zombie is great. Don't get me wrong.
I
The lore in there
completely
is
forgot about
The,
Call of Duty Zombies.
the best map 5 with you can play as JFK or Castro or whatever. The intro is hilarious, but
Okay. I forgot about Call of Duty Zombies. That was
there's a
thing.
whole bunch of lore that goes into Call of Duty.
it got way
Zombies,
too
too.
convoluted.
It
Yes,
really did.
I know. And that but see,
I
there-
only played
now see
the
there
2 Call of Duty 2 Black Ops.
Yeah.
Black well yeah, everybody played Black
Zombies?
Ops,
And that's the only one I actually played because my friend had it, and so that's the only one that I
Yeah.
played with her. And I kid you not, we had it down packed where one of us would sit on top of like the house right next to the little toy box thing that you could get,
Yeah.
and they would shoot things, and the other one would run to the different run to the different
Like Windows
little
or
gates.
whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's the farm map. and the farm map there was like a little house, and the farm had 3 different gates and the house. So one of us would chill in the house at the top next to the toy box, and the other one would go to the different gates. And then when that person ran out of ammo, we would switch. So that way there was always somebody at the toy box ready to go.
Sure.
Because we would do that, and we would try to get the little monkey with the symbols, because he was like a whole entire distraction thing.
Yeah.
And you would put him down, and then you would just run to go repair the other sections, because you could repair them, I think, at the time. And you would repair those sections while they were all like distracted over there, and then you could restart. And we made it quite a few rounds in there just by doing that. That strategy alone. We tried doing, I think it's like a giant, like, I don't know what it is, like underground bunker or something, like the original map or whatever. We tried doing that map, and we absolutely hated it, because the farm...
Like the original from World at War or whatever?
From Black Ops.
Oh.
Because there was like multiple maps in there.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
But we tried to do that map, and we absolutely hated it, because we thought the farm map was superior and more fun. Because you could just run them around in a circle the whole time. It was great.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, World War Z. I'll have to give that up.
Yeah, it's basically an oral history. It's called an oral history of the zombie war.
Yeah.
And there's just it's made up of different interviews with like survivors and stuff.
Oh, that's...
It's really well done.
Yeah.
There's a specific image that's always stuck with me of like, because they don't need to breathe oxygen, so just armies of zombies which would emerge from the ocean onto beaches, and like that. That's just terrifying to me for some reason.
That is terrifying.
But it's done really well. I enjoyed it, and I want to read his Bigfoot novel, which came afterwards.
Oh, yeah,
which
he did. That's right.
It's like it's a stupid idea, but I'm sure he did it well. Like a volcano erupts, and then Bigfoot, a bunch of big feet come out of the forest and like attack a town or something. It's told in a similar way where it's interviews with people. It's with World War Z. It's the immersion that really got me.
Sure. Yeah.
That was a while ago. Maybe it's trash now. I don't know.
No, I mean it could still be.
I think you should read it anyways for giggles and let us know.
Feel like. I mean, all of the zombie stuff that I've encountered, with the exception of The Walking Dead, holds up. And even, I mean, season 1 of The Walking Dead is still some of the best television I've ever seen. It just, 6 episodes of sheer what is happening here, kind of, and that's, I like that, because you start with a group of people who know what the world is really like, and then suddenly it changes in a way that none of them can control for. And more, like, I think what I found attractive about that too is that you've got this from the perspective of a couple of beat cops. They're not looking to solve a zombie crisis for the sake of the state. They're not they're just doing their job, and then the zombie apocalypse happens, and then one of them dies, and it's a whole thing. And that is more interesting than to me the idea of like, oh, a scientist was in the lab and something broke loose, and it's like, okay.
I mean, that's why I like the Resident Evil 2, because, like, you have Leon who just wants to start his first day, and then you have Claire who's literally just looking for her brother after she's on, like, spring break or whatever, or getting out of college, and these two people have no idea how any science things work. Like, they're 22 and 19.
Yeah,
like, what are they supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Leon is just like, oh, I just want to, like, join the police today. Like, that's it. Yeah. And the other different... I mean, later on, the Resident Evil series gets more ridiculous as it goes on. We all know this.
Same thing with Walking Dead. They just kind of lose it.
But the original, like, 4... I will say the original, like, 4 games. The 5th one is also just as ridiculous, even more so, because they decided to just throw it into the netherworld and do whatever they wanted. But, like, the first 4, like, none of the characters have any scientific know-how whatsoever. They're just trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Like, 4 just recently got, like, the remake or whatever, where, and that's, like, one of the more popular games, because Leon goes off by himself. He has to save the president's daughter, who is supposedly supposed to be on spring break in Spain, and ends up in this village and being kidnapped and implanted with a parasite. Zombie thing. But, like, neither of them have absolutely no idea what's going on, and at one point you take control of her, who has no combat experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
And she has to somehow make it out of an area while fighting all these different things that she has no experience fighting, so all she can do is just hide and sneak around things.
Yeah, and certainly something about the first... I mean, I know this probably changes over the course of that series, but something that was certainly identifiable about the first episode of The Last of Us that, I mean, to me felt very intentional, is they knew that their audience globally understood the idea of what happens when the world literally shifts. The entire planet just changes for reasons that no one can actually explain to you, you know, for months on end. They had this whole, you know, I remember very clearly, you know, the day that I first heard the word COVID-19, the utter lengths that NPR went through for an entire 24-hour period, trying to explain something that they literally said at the beginning, we don't know how to explain this thing, we just know what it's called, and we know that it's a virus, but we don't even know what kind of it. Like, that whole... the amount of work your brain has to do
to be able to do that.
Listen to that. Because it's just like, well, then why are they telling me about this thing? Who cares? But because they keep mentioning it so much, you're just like, okay, but why are we talking about this thing that nobody... I'm confused. And then, obviously, everything that happened, you know, states are shut down and all this kind of thing. But it still is the human reaction to something entirely inhuman, something that is uncontrollable, and diabolical, and never going away. I mean, you can't kill a virus. You can... Like you can't kill it off the planet. You know what I mean? It's like energy. Mm-hmm. Once it's there, it's there. You can't just, like, you know, eliminate it.
Unless you want to go all super villain about it. And, like,
I mean, right.
Thanos.
Yeah. Which, yes, right, exactly. So it's even that is just kind of one of those odd... It's interesting to see how a show like that led with that feeling, and clearly people weren't over it because they gobbled it all the way up. Like, I remember watching it thinking, oh yeah, this is like COVID without COVID. Like, they're really like playing into all of those things, that delirium that everybody was feeling. They just added a whole bunch of random explosions because why not? But I wonder if that has something to do with the appeal of zombies in general. Just the idea that with enough of them, suddenly the entire world has changed. And how often do people feel that, even if they're not in the midst of a pandemic or a world war or, you know, all these, you know, global events. I don't know, that's just nuclear crises. I mean, you know, all these things that would lead to sort of the zombie horde idea maybe it's just 21st century talk. I don't know.
Jar.
Yeah. All right. Zombies.
We can go to the jar. We're gonna get a thing out of the jar.
What's in the jar? Brains.
It's mine. Sorry. I got done with life, so I needed to put it somewhere.
But neither one of you can look at this until it's time. It's almost time, but I'll give you both at the same time.
Oh,
and
terrifying.
I don't want them fighting each other. I want to know.
Are they gonna be in a zombie apocalypse together?
Yes, and which of them survives.
Oh, we're not allowed to look at it yet. Okay.
You can now.
Oh, we can now?
Did you look at these before you... Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. They were like cracked open, and so it was very much... So who'd you get, Erin?
I'm gonna Kermit.
She's got a Kermit of crime, everyone. The green that she's wearing, it's not easy. And Grant.
It's not easy being green.
I received Elmo.
So who survives the zombie apocalypse?
Elmo has so many friends.
No,
Why are they walking towards me?
So there's a video of a guy who, he had this Elmo puppet, and there was a hole in his door, and his friend had the Elmo puppet, and Elmo has a knife. All I can think of is Elmo's gonna win because Elmo is unhinged.
I don't know. There is Darth Kermit.
I know there's Darth Kermit, but I feel like Elmo is gonna be very unhinged. Have you ever seen Elmo with Rocco?
Rocco
Isn't like Rocco's Modern Life Rocco?
Is
There's
Rocco a Muppet?
Rocco is from Sesame Street. Rocco is a rock. And Elmo absolutely despises Rocco.
What is Elmo other than
He's basically a child, which already tips stuff in Aaron's favor. Because although maybe his innocence and naivete would allow him to Forrest Gump his way through the zombie apocalypse, I don't know.
Maybe.
I guess the actual question is, whose puppeteer survives?
Wasn't Elmo's puppeteer a pedophile?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I could be wrong. One of these
know.
puppet people was a pedophile.
Yeah, after Steve from Blue's Clues, it's all...
He's not a pedophile. He's an upstanding citizen.
Like the original one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Kevin Jeffrey Clash?
Maybe, I don't know.
The OG from Blue's Clues?
Yeah, he was just in a made-for-TV Blue's Clues movie.
Who?
Steve, yeah.
He was. He got Paramount Plus.
I thought
he was on a movie.
The one, or was it the one
No,
after
there were a lot of rumors after he quit, like he died of an overdose, or he was a pedophile or something. But
Yeah.
he actually seems like a pretty cool guy. There's a cool, like he came up on stage and did a little talk about his life after Blue's Clues. It was actually pretty nice and funny. But
Okay, all
So
right.
the current-
I've been operating under bad propaganda.
Well, but the fact that it wouldn't surprise us
It doesn't surprise. It would not surprise me
that speaks to our society as a whole. Maybe
That's true. Yeah.
So the current person for Elmo is a guy named Ryan Dillon. It's not the person that you're thinking of.
Okay.
It was his previous puppeteer.
Okay, all right.
And then Steve Whitmire is the current puppeteer for Kermit as of 2021.
Okay. Well, I don't know which of them would be good at surviving the zombie apocalypse, but if they're listening, send us a letter with details. At this point, I think the zombies win.
Yeah, I mean,
The zombies would win, but I just feel like Elmo's just very unhinged.
Would
If we
they,
just
though? Because
if
they're
we have them
puppets.
without the puppeteers and have them be their own separate entities of doing things, Elmo is completely unhinged and also self-described as a 3-year-old.
he's been 3 years old for about 40 years.
Exactly. Elmo is
see
unhinged.
how that
I
works.
need you all to find the Elmo versus Rocco stuff because you would understand when I say Elmo is unhinged and would win at zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry, Kermit, but Elmo would be the winner.
On Kermit's side, I would say that he with his musical ability, he can play the guitar and whatnot. He can maintain an even mental.
Are you gonna say he's gonna soothe the zombies?
No, I'm not saying he's gonna soothe the zombies. I'm gonna say he's gonna keep